Why do men need an entire month dedicated to their mental health when Mental Health Awareness Month is already in May? Why is June Men's Mental Health Awareness Month? Well, when Mental Health Awareness Month was first introduced, a lot of the situation slowly digressed into only women's issues and focusing on young girls' mental health and women's mental health and what we could do to fix that. So, yeah, as a result, men got their own Mental Health Awareness Month because that's been an issue for a while too. Okay, but women's mental health progressively getting worse through the decades is really important. We should really focus on that. Like, younger girls are slowly becoming more and more depressed and anxious. That's important. And that would have been a great thing to talk about during May, Mental Health Awareness Month. Not during June, during Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. You wasted your time on bears and men.
What's going on YouTube? Is your boy Ron back with another video. If you're new to the platform, welcome to the tribe. By today's video, I hope you subscribe. So as you guys know, June is Men's Mental Health Month, and I did not discover this until last year, and I covered it because I found it very strange how quiet women were about it, especially considering how much they press men to go to therapy and be open and emotional and things of that nature. So I'm gonna start covering this every June going forward. Men's mental health is very important to me, especially if you know my story on how my red pill arc leading all the way up to this point where I'm at now. So I'm gonna go ahead and play these videos and then just share a few words with you guys at the end and just let the brothers rock out. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it.
Allow me a moment to explain why this statement and this way of thinking is completely idiotic. The woman you see behind me is a female teacher who essayed her male high school student. Here's another, and another, and another, and another. And you know what? One more for the hell of it. I can keep going all day. There are plenty of cases to show you. So again, based on your way of thinking and the data I showed you, is it safe to say that all women are gapists for young men? Who would you rather your teenage son to be stuck in the woods with, a bear or a woman, based on what I've shown? The point I'm trying to make is these women do not represent all women. Does that make sense to you? Yes, there are horrible women out there that are horrible men, but these few examples do not speak for the majority. That is what I'm trying to say, and that is why I don't back this trend. I am not going to paint an entire gender on a negative light because of the examples of a few. Anybody who has that logic is a complete idiot. That is why this comment and your way of thinking is completely flawed.
Women's issues are always everybody's issues, but men's issues are nobody's issues. What about the fact that the unaliving rate in men is highest in young teenage boys? What about the men that are fighting battles inside of their head after fighting for our country? What about the 1 in 10 men that get essayed? Or the fact that 70% of all relationship violence is initiated by women? Or what about the men that have to fight to see their children because of a bitter baby mom and they've spent over $100,000 doing so? And what about the men that actually decide to go to therapy, but the therapists are biased against men, so they further shame them and let the women play victim? Or what about the men that are homeless that fought for our country because they have nowhere to go because there's not as many homeless shelters for men as there are for women? Or what about the women that actually go get help for domestic violence and bring their son, but then she's told that she can't have her son in an all-women shelter and there's nowhere for them to go? What about the men that committed the same exact crime as a woman, but he got twice as much time? What about the fact that the unaliving rate is highest between men 35 to 75? What about the fact that women can decide to have an abortion, but men have no choice and they're guaranteed probably to be on child support unless they give up their rights or pay for a paternity test? What about the men that have been in some serious domestic violence situations, but nobody will listen to them because men are always looked at immediately as the aggressor because women are looked at as soft and delicate? What about the men who face false accusations after a night of intercourse that a woman regrets? And now he has to spend the rest of his life proving his innocence and probably loses everything around him, including his family or his job? Or what about the ever-changing expectations that are unrealistic that men have to face every single day, and as soon as they catch up to the new expectation, it changes again? And what about the fact that women are never taught how to treat men, but men are always expected to bend and cave and change and know how to treat women? I mean, what about that? Because so many women love to come on my page and say that I hate women, but what about the men? Okay, bye.
Men, when you're really struggling and you're depressed, why do you not reach out?
Because we're men. No one ever fucking expects us to do anything other than just deal with the shit.
Last time we tried, it was used against us.
It's called being a man.
Man wants to talk about his feelings is considered weak.
It gets used against you, gets turned around.
No one cares about guys.
Nobody's interested in helping us. Everyone's just more interested in telling us to buck up, get over it.
We don't reach out because nobody gives a damn, especially women.
Because nobody fucking gives a shit. Nobody.
Because no one really cares.
We do reach out. Just that we never get an answer.
It's seen as like weak looking for help, that we should just be strong and figure it out ourselves.
Or it's going to get used against us one way or another. So why open up to anybody?
We've had driven in our heads since we're born. Don't cry, you're not a girl.
I mentioned one thing to my wife about like pulling back on spending because we're doing something. She immediately thinks we're broke. I'm like, what the hell is, but she does because she gets stressed out. So I have to articulate things with her differently. I can come here and tell you guys that and you won't even interpret it that way. You'll just upset, oh yeah, we gotta save some money. That's what you do. Like, she's like, are we broke? We don't have any more money? I'm like, baby, I'm just asking us not to spend $50 at Starbucks every single morning. Can we do that like twice a week, dude? Like I'm not, but all of a sudden we're poor. So what I'm saying is when you got man stuff to deal with, you got to go to men. And if you start treating your wife like your sounding board, one, it's going to stress her out. It's going to make her highly uncomfortable and put her in a place out of her element. Or two, it's going to start putting her in a motherly role. And she's going to start acting like your mom. She's going to start trying to solve your problems. And then you're going to start coming to her with more problems. And pretty soon you have this really weird dynamic, this Freudian dynamic, where you've replaced one mother in your life with another mother in your life. And you have this really strange relationship. I think you have to have your tribe around. And I think to Stone's point, you've got to make time to be with your friends. And sometimes it's inconvenient. There's a lot of times when I'm like, dude, I don't want to go out. I'd rather go to bed. Like that's the guy, the man inside me, like I'd rather just go to sleep. But part of me knows I need to. I need to go out to just get out of the habit, get out of the house, be around with some brothers and laugh and cut things up. It doesn't have to even be serious talk. To me, that is really, really therapeutic. Now, when it gets into 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, it's no longer therapeutic. But I think it's super important for men to always have a tribe around them for the reasons.
Is social withdrawal. And this doesn't look the way you think. So male depression is completely different than female depression.
This is a great video because when you understand how depression presents differently in guys versus girls, we can understand that we treat it differently as well. So, as a woman explains in this video, for guys, depression can look like social withdrawal and getting lost in your work. And this is key because she also talks about how women, when they're depressed, it presents with the classic symptoms, sadness, apathy, so on and so forth. And what I've realized as somebody who treats people with depression is that for women, when you can make them feel better about themselves, the depression normally tends to fade away. But for guys, the key revolves around making them feel useful. When you're a guy and you feel useful to other people, you feel more connected in your purpose, and you feel like the world is better off because you are here and you're responsible for that. That tends to help with the depression.
Fam, why you feel like you gotta have all this stuff just to say you blessed by God? Fam, look at what I got on right now. That's a blessing. You feel me? Man, you ain't gotta have no designer just to say you blessed. Man, I ain't got the biggest house, but I got a house. You feel me? Man, I ain't driving the Benz looking whip, but that's something to get around in. You feel me? I ain't eating no expensive meal every day, but I still got food to put in my stomach to get me through the day. There's somebody out there probably wishing they got what you got, and you ain't even thankful for what you got. Being able to talk to God is a blessing. It's people dead right now. They didn't even get to repent. You blessed to be alive. You blessed that you can still repent. That's a blessing, boy. Man, us as humans gotta stop looking at the big things. We gotta start looking at the little things, the details. You feel me? You already blessed. Be thankful. For real.
You guys happy? Yeah. Thanks for asking, man. Like, no one ever asked. Yeah, I am.
Genuinely.
Are you?
Yeah. I want to have a family, but I'm happy.
Like actually, like all bullshit aside, like just in life.
Yeah. I think when you're like fulfilling your purpose, you're helping people out. Like there's no way that you can't be happy to some degree, right? Like if you're like influencing people positively, getting them in gym, getting them in shape, etc. People come up to you like, bro, you changed my life, etc. How could you like you almost feel like there's times like I don't want to go to the gym or I don't feel like it or I feel like damn maybe I didn't whatever, and then someone comes by and says yo you changed my life whatever, then you're like damn I gotta keep going. It's not just about me anymore.
That's the happiest I see him when a guy comes up. It's like, yo, you really helped me out with your podcast. I really appreciate that. That's like the happiest I've ever seen Myron. I think as men, aren't you at your happiest when you're not really thinking about happiness? When you're just working so hard and you have no time to think about your emotions?
Yeah, I was kind of thrown off by your question, but you're right.
Well, it's always kind of in hindsight that you go, oh, I was really happy.
But an object in motion
Not in the
stays in
moment.
motion. As soon as you take a break, that's when you reflect too much, and that's when you could start overthinking. You got to stay on your mission if you really want to.
So you don't think there's times that it can be beneficial to go, damn, I'm really doing this. I'm happy about where I'm at. This is what I envisioned for myself. Like you don't think there's value to that?
I take that. Like I like to travel quite a bit, but Myron is like, even if he travels, he's bringing a giant set of podcast equipment like to Colombia. I like to write a lot and film things. I do reflect more. But this guy's always on go mode. I don't think he's ever taken a break.
I hate traveling, to be honest with you.
Since he started streaming, I don't think he stopped.
I hate traveling.
You know what's funny? Before I started on this video, I actually just got off the phone with my mother. And I was telling her, I'm about to get started on this video about men's mental health because, June is Men's Mental Health Month and a lot of people, especially men, aren't really aware of it. And she said, you know what? I'm really happy to hear you covering this because I think it's very important for men. And she mentioned that my father, and I kind of remember this because he was in between jobs and he had got fired, right? And my mom stuck by his side, and it's fun. This is the first time she's sharing this with me. We literally just had this conversation before I'm recording this now. She said, Jerome, your father was very, very depressed. And that last clip with Sneeko, Bradley Martin, and Myron, I understand exactly 100% why my dad probably felt like that at the moment, because he probably did not feel useful. As much as, we probably don't want to admit it sometimes, we do seem to be our happiest when we're useful and being helpful to others. And I would be lying if I didn't agree with that, because at this moment, especially this year in particular, with the content and the channel growing the way it is, as you guys know, I just hit 60K the other day. This is probably the happiest I've ever been in my entire 39 years on this planet. And a big part of that is due to me finally finding my purpose and making myself useful, and guys reaching out to me, whether it's through email, whether it's on social media, or even the comments here on YouTube, and just letting me know how much of an influence and impact that I made on their lives positively, whether it was putting yourself out there and traveling overseas for the first time, or whether it was to bet on yourself and invest in yourself and try to start your own business, or whatever the case may be, or whether it was just being consistent in the gym. And when, just like Myron, when I hear brothers come to me and tell me these things, that's what keeps me going, because there are days where I'm like, I don't feel like going to the gym. There's days when I'm like, I don't feel like uploading videos today. But you guys always come to mind when I start thinking like that. And then when you guys come to mind, I get to it. Plain and simple, I get to it. So what I want to end this is by saying thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Thank you guys so much for continuing to tune in. You guys are the reason why I'm here. So again, thank you. I am forever grateful, and I don't take this for granted one bit. All right. If you're new to the platform, please subscribe. OGs, I appreciate the level of support. Make sure y'all hit that bell notification. That way y'all know when I'm uploading. Hit the like button because that's what the algorithm and helps me reach a broader audience. Also, look out for the travel vlog channel, Unplugged Traveler. Link is in the description. Until the next video, y'all. Deuces.